Let's talk about email absurdity. First point is the fallacy of email at scale. When you're an early stage startup trying to launch or trying to get from 1 to 10 as a scale up, you don't yet normally have your best customers knocking at your door. So here's the facts. You have to use email and you have to use LinkedIn, just like everybody else. Welcome, founders and small business leaders. Kenan Rappuchi here, founder and chief growth officer of Sellerant, your business growth ally. Welcome to another edition of the Revenue Recipe Podcast. We're here to help give you the tools, tactics, techniques, strategies, and really what you need to accelerate revenue growth for your business with the least cost, effort, and risk. So this week, I love these. It's super fun. Let me just quickly say before we get into this, we are not calling anyone out. We certainly don't want to take bread off anyone's table, but it is our obligation as an ally to help you grow your business, to literally just make you aware of what's going on. And you're already going to know this. You're already going to see it, but we are going to give credit to those around us who help us with great examples of do this, not that. And so this week's episode of Email Absurdity is going to feature my new good friend, Joe Casanova, who apparently is the CEO of a group called Furlough. They create opportunities building category-defining companies publicly. It's actually kind of cool. Good-looking guy, probably in his mid-30s maybe, I'm guessing here. Got some dreadlocks going. Building great tech companies by solving real-life validated problems with Furlough Studio partners for the benefit of the community and beyond. Building systems for sustainable growth and all that, and building inspiring brands. Look, guys, look good on your WordPress website. You probably should get rid of Klaviyo and get HubSpot, but we won't talk about that. Okay, that said, let's talk about email absurdity. First point is the fallacy of email at scale. So about 6-8 years ago, it became in vogue to get a bunch of domains, get a big list from ZoomInfo or Apollo or whoever was the list building source du jour to set up your prospects for outbound campaigns. Look, we get it. We have to do it for most of our clients. When you're an early stage startup trying to launch or trying to get from 1 to 10 as a scale up, you don't yet normally have your best customers knocking at your door. So here's the facts. You have to use email and you have to use LinkedIn, just like everybody else. So 6-8 years ago, sending out 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 emails a day using multiple variants of a domain with a template message just to get a brand impression wasn't that bad of an idea. It, in many cases, ended up getting a lot of meetings on a calendar, but it didn't necessarily correlate to sales efficiency. What I mean by that is making sure that the meetings that are on your calendar are actually ideal customers based on your market profile, position, and your offer. So it has over time gotten to be, quite frankly, a disruption, a distraction, and essentially just a poor tactic to email at scale. And I'm going to talk to you about the specific problems of why that is. And we're going to show you some examples, thanks to my new friend, Joe. So let's take a look at two things here. The first is why AI doesn't always work. Okay. So when we're talking about email prospecting at scale, AI says it can personalize. I get, 5 or 10 of these LinkedIn messages every week about a new AI agent that's going to eliminate SDRs and fill your calendar with qualified leads. It's a preponderance. It's just getting worse and worse. And most people are just getting literally tired of it. And they're not opening, not engaging. That's why email open rates are falling through the floor. So with AI being able to write emails for you at scale, you can send more of them to more people through different means, and the same problem persists. You're not really reaching your right audience. Why is that? Well, the problem and the root cause of this is, quite simply put, it's poor segmentation, poor targeting. Segmentation is by nature categorizing those best fit prospects by things like firmographic intelligence, industry, size, location, tools that they use. There's a variety of firmographic information that you can use to segment for your ideal target audience to make your emails more efficient. It's also important to know that understanding the profile of the person that you're talking with in terms of how they correlate is an important part of segmentation. So listen, when it's all said and done, you have to know exactly who your audience is and that they fit your market position. If they don't, this is what ends up happening. And Joe, God love you. I'd love to break bread with you someday. If you're ever in the Austin area or you're ever where I'm at, I'm pretty easy to find and find out about. Let me buy you a beer. And thank you for giving me your blessing to use you here. So let's start with the first email sent to our SVP of Business Development and Partnerships, Ben Wiggins, also formerly CEO and founder of Proclaim, which is now a Sellerant company doing podcasting. This might be a podcast. Shh, don't tell. So he reached out to Ben with 2 emails. First one, hey, we'd love to offer you a free audit of your setup. We'll take a look at your campaigns, etc. We specialize in helping e-commerce brands unlock hidden revenue through emails, better email strategy. This is a gem. Better email strategy. Curious about our track record? Google us and you can see for yourself. We didn't see much. Okay, so then the next automation. Hey, Ben, just following up on that Klaviyo review we mentioned. You'll be speaking with me directly, a seasoned email marketer with over 10 years of experience growing e-commerce brands through lifecycle marketing. Okay, this is where it got fun. So let me apologize in advance because I did say something that's inappropriate in my response to him. And Joe, please don't take it personally. You just made it too easy. Okay, so please forgive me in advance for making the contention I did. It was rude, so I hope you forgive me and give me another chance. So the final email, hey, wanted to reach out again. We've assisted hundreds of e-commerce brands, helping them unlock revenue, etc. Okay, to be honest, our community of 38,000 plus marketers is incredibly talented. So he's offering, some advice to work with his community. That's great. Thank you for the offer we didn't ask for. So I just said, hey, Proclaim's not an e-commerce brand. Do better. This is why people are not engaging with senders because obviously they're idiots. Apologize for that. That was rude. You claim to be the CEO of an email marketing company. I misread that, obviously, even though he said that. Please, Joe, prove to me you're not an idiot. I'll wait. Good luck. Hey, bud, after looking at your site, you're clearly not an e-commerce brand, so it's definitely a waste of money to be on Klaviyo. So why the did you email us? Okay. I'm the founder of the world's largest business community by engagement, have partners like ClickUp, Discord, definitely not a founder of email marketing company, but have plenty of email marketers that are competent looking for work. You're not one. Okay. But yeah, best of luck. I said, you're dismissed. Again, kind of was being rude. Please forgive me, Joe. I loved his response. Okay, boomer. Guilty. And I mentioned this is priceless. Going to use it word for word on my next podcast as an example of what not to do, giving him all the credit. He writes back, is this you? Goes to a Proclaim, kind of a baseline channel that we use for some podcasts. And he says, I think I'll survive. Hey, it was never our intent to not have you survive. We want you to thrive. But the way you did this email is not the way to do it. And I'm coaching every founder I ever come across. And I've been coaching founders since 1995. I'm a boomer. Okay. So end of the day, this is an example of what not to do. Joe, thank you. Seriously, let me break bread with you. Let me buy you dinner. Let me have a cup of coffee with you. I'd love to hear more about what you guys are doing because we're all about community. We're all about helping founders figure out what to do and what not to do. Thank you for giving us an example of what not to do. I'm sure it was just because the segmentation was wrong. Should have been on HubSpot. We can tell you how to make that work for you and your community. Going forward, here's the lesson. No more email absurdity. Make sure that you target your customers properly. Look for efficiency, not scale. Don't count on everything AI tells you because, podcasting services company is not an e-commerce company. It's about as far apart as you can get. The next expert or self-proclaimed expert marketer or lead gen person or someone who's going to fill your calendar with leads who approaches you and makes promises, here's the tip of the day. Make sure you deeply vet them. Look deeply into their background, call them out on what they've done, and make sure that you align yourself with those who are true experts. They're easy to find out about if you know how to look. Thanks a bunch. Hope this was helpful. Joe, thanks again for providing great material for us on what not to do for email marketing. And y'all have a great week. Keep kicking butt. Grow your business. See you here next week on The Revenue Recipe. Peace.